is a painting of some shells from Pixabay, and I made a drawing on the Yupo. And I'm going to just put in a very pale background and then direct paint over it. So I think the background will just be a mix of the colors that are in here, maybe sandal, peach bellini, and some cloudy blue. But first I'm going to lighten this drawing because it'll be a very light ink layer, and these lines will really show through. I'm going to start with a layer of alcohol. I'm just going to squirt it on here and add in some of the cloudy blue. These two are pretty close in color. Just use the cotton ball to make sure they're covered all of the areas. I think the ink layer is too thin. I wanted to be able to put in a texture, and I'm not going to be able to do that with as pale a background as that was. So we'll put in a little bit more. Now that the ink layer is dry, I'm going to flick a small amount of alcohol on it to create some sand texture. And this may have some brass. We'll see. But mostly I just want the texture. Now that our textured sandy background is finished, we can start working on the shells. And there are three values of color that we need to work with to begin with. One would be the dark areas, another would be the light areas, and then the third would be the actual local color of the shell. And I think I'll just start with the alcohol and the brush and start with the light areas. And I'll just go around and do a little bit of lifting. So for our larger shell, the colors I'm going to work on will be caramel, ginger, and lemonade, I believe. So I'll put those in the weld palette and start painting in the local color of that shell. This is some of the peach bellini. So it looks like we're going to need a lot of layers on this shell. So while I have these colors out, I'll pop in some of the shades on some of these other shells. This is the lemonade. And this is cloudy blue. And for the darks, I'll put in the teak wood. This is really just a first layer, of course. Got some slate. I'll use it for some of the darker parts of the more blue shells. I'd like some more intense shades of kind of warmish orange brown. So I'm going to pop some Valencia in with some ginger. Let's see what kind of color that gives me. A little bit more orangey. There are a lot of striations in the shell, and they will be nice to lift out, but we need something to lift from. Use the cotton swab and do a little bit of lifting, and put in some of the texture as well. To the markers for a little bit, and this is kind of a blue-gray one, and just add in some additional color and shading. This is kind of a tannish brown. This is kind of a gold color. Draw in more of these lines. I think this time I'm going to use the brush. Let's go back to the cotton swab. Take a pass around with the sepia pen and tighten some of the edges, and then I'll have to address this part of the shell because it's not quite right, and eventually we have to fix it. Alright, so now I'm going to just start drawing on this shell here. A little more lifting. I forgot about this guy down here. I'll try a little bit of lifting with this marker. this point, I want to add some more darks in the piece, and I've got out my eggplant and teak wood, and I'll just pour those into the weld palette and let them set up for a minute or so. This is that eggplant. And this is the teak wood. This is some honeycomb. This is some peach Bellini. And another round of lifting with the cotton swab. At this point, I'd like to do some lifting and just kind of adjust how the sand interacts with the different shells. I think this probably wasn't a great idea. So this painting's been sitting for a couple days, and I think we're at a point where I want to figure out whether I can save it or not. I had kind of given up on it, and I think I might give it another chance. So here are the things that are kind of bothering me about it. The main problem is really this focal shell. It's the wrong color, and I don't have any of these striations in the shell, and I'm not getting any of these fine lines in here at all, and it may be just a little funky as well. And I'm also not particularly liking the way I lifted to get some variation in the sand. So the first thing I want to do is actually just put a mat on it and see how much of it we need to work on. And this is a 5x7 mat, so not too much. So the first thing I'm going to do is splatter some gold on it, and my hope is to get more of a sand texture through there and maybe obscure a little bit of where I lifted, but not bother the shells too much. So this is the Ranger Gold. And this is just alcohol. I'm going to try to get into this area where the lifting was. This is a very pale marker. I'm going to use it to try to just reestablish some of the lighter lines in these shells and just get those a little bit more up to speed before I attack this guy again. So this is another pale marker. We'll start to look at the shell over here. I'm gonna do a little lifting, but not too much, because I think we're actually getting somewhere. And I'm kind of pouncing it because I want to keep a couple of the little speckles in. Well, there must have been a little bit more alcohol on that than I had in mind, because it kind of took out way more than I had in mind. So we'll be putting it back in. I'll try a couple of highlights again without, hopefully not that much alcohol. This is kind of a more orangey marker. Let's see if I can just get in a little bit more color in here. The first end seemed a little dry, so I'm trying to go gently with this other end. I'll try it over here on some of these other shells. It's really very dry, so it's kind of acting almost like a dry brush, which, well, probably not good for the overall health of the marker. Is not bad for the painting. Very dark gray. I'm going to go back in with the brush and alcohol and kind of soften up some of these. A little bit with the sepia pen, but not too much. I need to do something with this shell over here. Keep forgetting about it. There's a couple more things I need to do. This shadow back here is kind of funky.